All right, what is going on, guys? We got 8 games to talk about. Happy Friday. Excited to talk about this slate. This one is a little bit different from the last few slates that we've had. Last like 2 or 3 slates or 4 slates, something like that, we've had a ton of value, a ton of like clear value, right? This one, not so much. Like there is a couple value pieces opening up. I also forgot that this locks at 6:30, not 6, but I figured, well, I'm not going to move the live stream now. So I'll stay live for about 35 or so minutes here. I'll talk about, obviously, what we know so far. We'll take a look at the Vegas odds, and then we'll go team by team, and I'll talk about the players I'm interested in. Still tilting very, very hard from last night. I cashed in the lower stakes tournaments, even with the Miami blowout for Hero, and even with the Nurkic injury. Nurkic, if he doesn't get injured there, he was on pace for 40 at 20% ownership. It was just so, I didn't sleep last night. I was that mad because he was such a good play. That really hurt because he stays healthy. It's a really big night for me. Just unfortunate. You're right. Can't predict injuries. He was in a fantastic spot at low ownership, and I am still going to be tilting that one for a couple days for sure. But all right, let's take a look at what we know so far today. All right, so some of the stuff is for Friday. Anthony Davis will play. Nurkic out at least 8 weeks. That's really unfortunate. Again, you guys know he's one of my favorite players. Let's see. Jaylen Brown is available to play. Also, Tice available to play. So the Boston guys, they do have more healthy bodies. Rondo's available to play. Kyrie ruled out again. Horford just got ruled out. That does change some things. That opens up some value on the slate, which we didn't have before. And then, let's see. I think... Jarrett Allen, Taurean Prince, unlikely to make their Cavs debut. So that's the news that I wanted there. Okay, that does change some things. For me, at least. Obviously, I like Drummond a lot more. We'll get to that, though, in a sec. So let's take a look at these Vegas odds here. All right, so we have Knicks, we have Cavs. It's a 197. That's not a typo. 197 over under. The Knicks are 2.5-point favorites. Magic and Celtics is a 213.5 over under. The Celtics are 4.5-point favorites. Mavs, Bucks, it's a 230 over under. The Bucks are 8-point favorites. Bulls and Thunder, it's a 225 over under. The Bulls are 2-point favorites. We have Grizzlies, we have T-Wolves, the 226.5 over under. The T-Wolves are 1-point favorites. Hawks and Jazz, the 229 over under. The Jazz are 6-point favorites. Clippers, Kings, 227 over under. A little bit of blow risk here. Clippers are 7.5-point favorites. There's a couple of guys questionable there. And then Pelicans, Lakers is a 220 over under. Lakers are 9-point favorites. Let's see. I might have to refresh this. Comments are not loading in for me right now. So give me one sec, guys. I'm going to refresh the live stream here. All right. Thanks, Shaman. I appreciate that, man. Jarrett Allen and Taurean Prince out. That does. We'll get to Cleveland. But that makes Cleveland a lot more viable now. Let's first talk about Orlando and Boston. So Orlando, there are really two guys that I'm interested in, and that's about it. So it's Nikola Vucevic at 9K. He always goes under-owned on these slates. I think he'll be a little bit more popular this slate, but he's just a guy that puts up consistent numbers. No one ever wants to roster him. He'll play close to 35 minutes in competitive games. He can stuff the stat sheet, probably get you a double-double. So Vucevic, I think, is a really, really safe play with upside. I also like Aaron Gordon at 7.3. No longer on his minutes restriction. Played 36 and 35 minutes the last couple games. So they are unleashing Aaron Gordon. They don't have a ton of options on offense. So it's going to be the two forwards here, or the two big guys, the Vooch and Aaron Gordon, where the offense runs through. I don't play Terrence Ross. Fournier is still out. Cole Anthony has been underwhelming. He's at 5.5. You can go there, but doesn't stand out as an amazing play. And then just the value guys, I don't really want to go here. So with them having a pretty ugly roster right now, it does boost the appeal of Vooch, boost the appeal of Aaron Gordon. I think both are pretty solid plays here. All right, let's move on to Boston. So Boston, we did get that news that Jaylen Brown is now in. So Jaylen Brown himself, no Jason Tatum, I think makes for a pretty solid play here. He should play probably close to 40 minutes. Offense is going to run through him. He's a guy that, sure, 8-9 does feel like a lot, but with no Tatum, I think he's still firmly in play here at the top. So Jaylen Brown, I do have interest in. Marcus Smart, not so much there at 7.6. If Brown was out, I would have more interest in him. But with Jaylen Brown playing, kind of a stay away. Daniel Tice at 5.5 with Thompson playing. I mean, they're both healthy. I would rather play Thompson if you're going to make me pick between the two, but neither really stands out as like an amazing play. A couple guys that I am intrigued by are Peyton Pritchard and Jeff Teague. Again, with no Jason Tatum, these guys will have to do more offensively. Curious to see what they do with the starting lineup for Boston. But Teague at 4.4. Pritchard is at 4.7. I like them both for value. Again, with no Tatum, someone's gonna have to help Jaylen Brown. And it's not like Daniel Tice and Tristan Thompson are gonna like be posting up a ton, right? So it's like offense is gonna be Jaylen Brown, and that's about it. So Pritchard, Jeff Teague, I think are interesting value plays here. All right, that's it for Boston, really. Let's move on to New York and Cleveland. Real quick, let's refresh this. Let's make sure we're still up to date here. Drew Holiday active. Andre Drummond will play. Okay. So, New York. Really only one guy I'm interested in, and that's Julius Randle. I know that it's a low over-under, but still, like this guy should play about 40 or so minutes in a close game. When I play him, 30 minutes. That was fun. Fun when I buy into Julius Randle because of the minutes and he plays 30 minutes. And then the next game I get off him, right back to 40. So what are we going to get from Julius Randle? If he plays over 40 minutes again, I think he is a solid play here at 9-1. I think that is a little bit underpriced. So I do like Randle if he continues to get those type of minutes. All right. What's going on? Wolves, Grizzlies postponed? Really? Oh, it is. It is postponed. All right. So that is another game postponed. We wanted to talk about that one. Okay, that does change some things a little bit. I did kind of want to play Ja. All right, so don't play Ja now with that game being postponed. But back to New York. Randle is the guy for me. Everyone else are kind of stayaways. Like I just don't really want to play Peyton or Barrett or Robinson. The bench guys are just, I don't know if we have to go there. So it's Randle for me, and that's it. And the Cleveland side, so with no Jarrett Allen and no Taurean Prince, they're once again thin. So now I do like Andre Drummond a good amount. I thought Jarrett Allen was playing. With Jarrett Allen out, I think Drummond makes for a good play at the top. So he's one of my favorite spend-ups. Obviously, there's some risk, right? We know with Drummond, foul concerns. But I think he does have a ton of upside there at 9.3K. I do like Drummond a good amount. Nance is just, not for me. Osman at 6'2", I think is viable. Should, run the point a little bit. Again, him and Dotson will kind of man the point guard duties. I think both look pretty decent here. Osman at 6'2", Dotson at 5'2". These guys should play all the minutes they can handle in a close game. So both those guys I think look pretty solid. McGee, if you think Drummond gets in some foul trouble, you can take a shot there. Okoro, the minutes will be there for him, but just a low usage guy. I mean, you can throw him in the player pool, don't love it. And then, they are just really, really thin. There's no Yogi Ferrell. Like, they're going to have like a 8-man rotation again. So I actually now am pretty high in this Cleveland team, even in a lower total. Let's move on to Dallas, Milwaukee. So Luka versus Giannis. Obviously, this one will be fun to watch. Luka at 11K. If you're comfortable with enough of the value on the slate, I am perfectly fine with Luka Doncic. He's a very safe play. I mean, we saw the upside even with Porzingis playing. So I have absolutely no issue with Luka. It's just a matter of, are you confident with enough of the value plays on the slate? There's some, right? But is there a ton of like amazing value? I don't know if there's a ton of like standout value. Porzingis, I'm going to stay away from. Hardaway's too expensive with both those guys playing. I'm not going to play Trey Burke at 5K. Two guys that I'm interested in for value here, James Johnson, Willie Cauley-Stein. There's no Kleber, no Dwight Powell, so they're once again thin. James Johnson will play like the backup 4. He'll probably play mid-20s minutes. He's a decent point guard guy. I think he's an okay value play. And then Willie Cauley-Stein. Again, they're thin at the center position. He played 30 minutes at last game. I think we probably get close to that. So I do like Cauley-Stein for value. I mean, you can take a shot on Boban. He probably gets 10 to 15 minutes. He's a good point burner guy, but that's obviously more of a GPP play. No, I will never, ever play Wes Nwundo, ever. So if he starts, I don't care at all. I will never play him. And that's it for Dallas. So let's move on to Milwaukee. Giannis ended to come about 10-8. I think it was overlooked in the slate. I think Luka will be more popular if people are going to spend up. I still have interest in Giannis. I think he has a ton of upside in close games. He should probably play over 35 minutes. We really haven't seen like a big Giannis game yet this season. We've seen a couple 60-point games, but under 11K, I think he's a good spend up. Just again, are you confident with enough with enough of the value plays to get him in there. Middleton, Drew, I'd rather get to Giannis for a little bit more. I'm not paying that price for Brook Lopez or DiVincenzo. Portis is like an okay GPP play at 5'4", should play mid-20s minutes. I think he's fine, but not a priority for me though. That is it for Dallas and Milwaukee. So now we no longer have to talk about Minnesota and Memphis. So let's move on to the next game then. And that is Chicago, Oklahoma City. Well, let's talk about the Chicago side first. So they're getting a little bit healthier. Markkanen back. Otto Porter Jr. is probable too. So they are pretty healthy. Santa Rancy's still out, but that doesn't do a ton. Garrett Temple, don't care if he plays or not. Doesn't do anything for me with them with Markkanen back. So Zach LaVine's at 9.5. I don't think he's a cash game play. I still like his upside for GPPs. We've kind of seen it, right? The last two games, 60 and 66 fantasy points for Zach LaVine. He has that type of upside. He can stuff a stat sheet. The offense runs through these two guards. Now, Markkanen being back, maybe it is a slight hit to him, but I still do like LaVine at the top. More of a GPP play, though. Kobe White, I think I like him better point per dollar. Probably doesn't have as much upside, but he can still get you 40 to 50 fantasy points. So both the Chicago guards are in play here. Probably prefer the price on White. Wendell Carter Jr. at 6'2" with no Al Horford. It's just the minutes are up and down on him. Markkanen coming back, a little worried they might limit him. So we'll see. I'm probably not going to do it. And then with everyone kind of healthy now, the bench are stayaways for me. All right, let's move on to OKC. So OKC, this is a team I want some exposure to. Al Horford. Originally, I was high on him. He's ruled out. Darius Bazley, questionable. He left the game last game. So if those two are out, I mean, SGA I think looks like a really solid play. Below 8K in a fantastic matchup with possibly two of the higher usage guys out of the offense. I think it's setting up for a really nice game here for SGA. He's one of my favorite plays in the slate. Really like SGA at that price. I think he'll be somewhat popular. But yeah, really, really do like SGA. And then, value-wise, I think Isaiah Roby, there's not a ton of standout value. Assuming he starts, we probably get high 20s minutes from him. I like him. Again, I like targeting bigs against Chicago. So, yeah, I'm fine with going to Roby there for value. You can look to a guy like Mike Muscala off the bench. Should play about 20 minutes. Decent point per minute guy. If you want to get off the Roby chalk, I'm fine pivoting to Muscala. And then, if Bazley is in fact out, I'm curious to see what they do with the starting lineup. Right? Do they start? I'm not even going to try to pronounce this name. I should learn how to pronounce this name. But if he starts at 3-3, Alexi, I think he would be a solid play. If maybe they start Hamidou Diallo and run a little bit smaller, like maybe they could do that. We'll see, right? So I'm curious to see what OKC does with the starting lineup if Bazley is out too. Like I think Roby starts for Horford, but if Bazley is out, who starts, right? So whoever does start for OKC, I would like for value. We'll just have to keep an eye on that, right? And then, yeah, guys like, George Hill gets a slight boost with some of those guys being out. I think like he's an okay play at 4.7. Doesn't stand out as an amazing play. Dort at 4.1. Yeah, maybe plays a few extra minutes. Don't love it. That's kind of it for me for OKC. All right, let's refresh this again. Let's see if we're up to date. Bullock will start. Okay, it doesn't do a ton for me. Let's move on to Atlanta and Utah. So Atlanta, Trae Young, I actually do like for GPPs because of the price point, 8.7. He was on pace to have a really big game there against Philly, and it blew out. So sure, he's up and down, right? Just looking at the last four games, 54, then 16, then 31, then 45. But the upside is 50+ for Trae. I think he goes overlooked in the slate. I think Trae Young is actually a decent GPP play. With Capella healthy, like Collins and Capella just hurt each other's upside. I don't really love either. With Hunter, Herter, Reddish, like Hunter's probably the safest of the bunch, but don't love the spot. He's been okay. Like if he's the last piece in, sure. Rondo is playing. There's not a ton of like standout value. If he plays like 15 to 20 minutes, I think you could like take a shot on him at GPPs because he's a decent point per minute guy. A guy like Solomon Hill, I don't know if we have to go there. Like probably feel better with the other value on the slate. So that's it for Atlanta. Let's move on to the Jazz. If you guys have been watching my content for a while now, you guys do know I do not like the Utah Jazz when they're fully healthy. They're just a balanced team, and no one ever really stands out. They're all priced accordingly. Matchup's good here. If you want to play Donovan Mitchell, sure, don't love it. If you want to play Rudy Gobert, sure, don't love it. I think center's pretty loaded today. Mike Conley at 6'9" does have some upside, but also up and down. Again, if you want to go there, I understand. Clarkson's a little pricey, even with Ingles out. Did play a bit more there in that garbage time. That's why he had the big game. 6'1", though, it's like, right? I don't love that price. I'm not paying almost 5.5 for Royce O'Neal. Bojan's too score independent. So it's just like, I don't really like anyone in Utah. Probably one of these guys, one or two will have a decent game. Even with Ingles out, it's just, I don't really want to go to anyone here. So let's finish it up here with the last two games, then we can get to some questions. So New Orleans and the Lakers. We're still waiting on some news here for New Orleans. Pretty big news here with Eric Bledsoe, right? Ingram and Zion at the top, I think, are decent contrarian plays. Not priorities for me. Ingram, revenge game narrative. He had a bad game last time out with all those guys out. Fine going back to him in tournaments, but not a priority for the matchup. Zion, kind of the same thing, right? Just don't love the spot here against the Lakers. So both those guys are just like contrarian plays. Adams, center's loaded. I probably don't want to go there. Now, the big news here is Lonzo Ball's out. Eric Bledsoe's questionable. If Eric Bledsoe's out, you guys know I am going right back to the wall and not hesitating one bit with NAW. Even with Zion back, I don't care. I'm going to be playing him. If Eric Bledsoe's out and NAW starts a point guard, I'm playing him. And again, not thinking twice about it. He went for 52 the last game. He has that type of upside, right? He's a good offensive player. Probably plays about 30 minutes if Bledsoe's out. So really like NAW for value if Bledsoe's out. If Bledsoe is in and NAW does not start, I think NAW is just a secondary play. So really just depends on Bledsoe news, right? If Bledsoe plays himself, I think he makes for a decent play here at this price. It's just an eye thing, so he's not going to be limited minutes-wise. And with no Lonzo, he'll have to run point a little bit more. So, like, if Bledsoe plays, I like Bledsoe a lot. If Bledsoe's out, I like NAW a lot. So just a matter of who starts a point guard for the Pelicans, I like, even in a bad matchup, because I think Bledsoe's a little bit underpriced with Lonzo out. If Bledsoe's out, NAW is too underpriced. Josh Hart and JJ Redick would be viable if Bledsoe's out. Hart had played big minutes last game, completely busted. It is a revenge game narrative for him, too, if you're into that. Again, fine at that price, but doesn't stand out. JJ Redick did play 28 minutes. Again, if Bledsoe's out, they're going to be pretty thin at guard, so I think you could make the argument for Redick. Know where you're getting into, though. Floor is somewhat low with him, right? Very scoring dependent. And that wraps up for the Pelicans. Let's move on to the Lakers. So Lakers, we have Anthony Davis already ruled in. LeBron James still questionable, which I think is a little bit weird, right? Why rule Anthony Davis in and not rule LeBron James in? So I'm like, maybe there's a chance LeBron gets ruled out in this one. Like, maybe. I just think it's weird that they ruled Anthony Davis in already and not LeBron James. If they both play, I don't know if anyone stands out in the Lakers. I think they're all just like secondary plays. Like, you can go to LeBron, you can go to AD himself, but I don't know if they stand out. Now, if LeBron James gets ruled out, now that changes everything, because then Anthony Davis becomes one of the best spend-ups in the slate at 9.8, revenge game narrative here, and then would make guys like Dennis Schroeder a really good play at 6'4", would make, Kuzma a little bit more viable, would make guys like, the guards, KCP, like Caruso probably gets a boost in min price. So there would be a pretty, I would have a lot more interest in the Lakers if LeBron James does get ruled out here. Again, a little bit weird that they ruled Anthony Davis in, but not LeBron James in yet. That does, make me a little bit, like maybe LeBron could get ruled out here. So if he does, again, it's AD and then Schroeder and then some of those value plays, which we mentioned. All right, finish up with the Clippers and the Kings. Let's refresh this one more time here. Guys, we're at 430 viewers, 40 likes. Can we get to 100 likes? That would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you, guys. All right, let's see. We're still up to date here. So let's talk about the Clippers now. Clippers are in a really good spot. Like, I love targeting players against the Bulls. I love targeting players against the Kings. The Kings play fast, and the Kings play no defense. So the Clippers are a team that the two guys at the top, Kawhi and Paul George, I like a good amount. And I think they're going to go I don't think they're going to be super popular today, but I really do like both these guys just because of the matchup, right? Both should play big minutes, especially if both Pat Beverly and Lou Williams are out too. More, ball handling duties for both these guys. So I like Kawhi. I like Paul George a good amount. Again, fantastic spot. With Ibaka versus Zubac, they're splitting the center minutes. Ibaka's playing more, but priced up. Zubac, maybe like a late slate value play. Decent point per guy, but don't know if we have to go there on the main slate. Yeah, Batum wouldn't really change much if like Pat Beverly and Lou Williams are out. The guys that I would look to, if both Beverly and Lou Williams are out, I would assume they start Reggie Jackson And if they do, Reggie Jackson would catapult to be one of the best value plays in the slate. I know a lot of people don't like playing Reggie Jackson, but it doesn't matter, right? If he's starting at point guard against the Kings, we probably get at least 25 minutes from him. I would play him. If he starts at point guard and Lou Williams and Pat Beverly are out, I would play Reggie Jackson if he starts. They could start Luke Kennard too, right? It'll be curious to see what they do to the starting lineup. But yeah, if both those guys are out, it would be a Kennard, Reggie Jackson that I would have interest in, depending on starting lineup news, right? Depends on who starts at point guard. If Pat Beverly is out and Lou Williams starts at point guard, then I would like Lou Williams, right? I would think he would probably push for maybe high 20s minutes. If Pat Beverly plays, that price is just $5K is all right. So yeah, definitely some potential value here if one or both these guys are out. Again, if they're both out, then we look to guys like Kennard, Reggie Jackson. If one of them are in, like if Pat Beverly's out, I think Lou Williams is decent if he starts. So it really depends on who gets rolled out and what the starting lineup is. So kind of wait and see approach here. Marcus Morris, I think, is an okay value play at 3.7. Probably plays 20 to 25 minutes. Not a super high usage guy, but I think you could throw him in the player pool. All right, let's finish up with the Kings. So Kings, De'Aaron Fox, if you're getting a decent amount of exposure to the Clippers, I think Fox is the bring back. Like if you want to stack it, you can. I don't love the matchup on the opposite side, but like Fox would be the guy I would bring it back with. He's a guy that can stuff a stat sheet. I do like Fox as a contrarian play, and I think he does go a little bit under-owned on this slate. Buddy Hield at 6'9". Yeah, he finally had a decent shooting game, 1 for 47. You can play him in GBPs. I prefer Fox. I just think he has higher floor. Holmes at almost 7K can still get you there. But, the foul concerns are always an issue with Rashawn Holmes. Whiteside questionable. That doesn't do a ton for me. Halliburton, Barnes seem priced about right. I'm not going to play Bagley at that price. So that's kind of it for me for the Kings. It's Fox, and that's really what I am looking for there. All right, let's refresh one more time here, and then we can get to some questions. All right, we are basically up to date, guys. So let's get to some questions. Yeah, Grant Williams with Tice and Thompson playing. Grant Williams is more of a secondary play. Like I think we can do better for value. And I'm not saying he's out of play, but I don't think we have to go there. Tristan Thompson over Williams, yeah, for sure. Tristan Thompson over Grant Williams. 6.9 for Buddy, yeah, I don't want to do that. Drummond looks good. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to update some Patreon stuff with that Cleveland news. But I do like Drummond now. Oni for value. He's on the Jazz, right? No, I don't think we have to go there. Let's see. Where's the Jazz? Yeah, he's at min price. That game blew out, so he got extended a bit. No. Nope. No. Do not do that. I'm starting Thompson as of now, but I might change. Yeah, I think Tristan Thompson is like a guy that you play in cash games. He'll play, I don't know, 25 to 30 minutes. He'll probably get you 20 to 25 fancy points. Thoughts on James Johnson as value? I think James Johnson's a decent value play. Should play mid-20s minutes on the bench. He's a guy that can get you some blocks and steals. SGA, NAW, Brown, Roby, WCS. Yeah, I think that's solid. You don't have to. You don't have to add any Clippers. Yeah, this slate is honestly a little like I don't have like a great feel for it. There's not a ton of standout plays, to be honest. There's not. The teams I like attacking are I like attacking the Bulls. I like attacking the Kings just because both those teams are really bad defensively. So OKC and the Clippers are teams I'm probably going to try to get some exposure to. If you stack OKC, should you run it back Levine? You don't have to. You don't have to. You can play like two guys in OKC. You don't have to run it back with someone on Chicago. Stars and scrubs for the slate? Normally I do like to get stars and scrubs, but there's not a lot of great value plays right now. You prefer Cleveland or Boston value? Depends what value you're talking about, I guess. Yogi got cut. Yeah, the Cavs are really thin. Cavs are really, really thin. Is Okoro safe for value? He'll play minutes. He's a low usage guy. Where's Okoro? If you play him, he'll play mid-30s minutes. The minutes will be there. But this is the type of floor he has. 7. 4. Literally 4 fantasy points in 42 minutes. That's what? 0.1 fantasy points a minute? Sure, you can play him, but you got to know that that floor is really low. I might just run Luka and Giannis and shoot for the moon. I mean, you can do it. Like, I don't mind that build, pairing Luka and Giannis together. Brandon Ingram or Trae Young. I think Ingram's a little bit safer, even in a bad matchup. So if you're going for safety, it's probably Ingram. I don't mind going to Trae and GBPs, though. Yeah, favorite center. It depends on which range you're talking about. I think, like, at the top, obviously Giannis looks good. Drummond now with no Jared Allen. Vooch is always a safe play. Mid-range, there's not a ton of love in the mid-range, to be honest. Yeah, there's not really a lot I like in the mid-range. Like, value-wise, yeah, you can play Thompson. I think Willie Cauley-Stein looks pretty good with Dallas being thin. That's probably where I would go for center. So those guys I mentioned. Yeah, thoughts on Willie Cauley-Stein? I like him. I do. I need Reggie and NAW to both start. Yeah, I mean, the tough part is both those games are late games, right? So it's like if Bledsoe gets ruled in and Lou and Pat Beverly get ruled in, then it's going to be tough, right? You got to have some wiggle room. So maybe you use like Kawhi and Paul George too, and then if they get ruled in, you can rearrange some stuff. So like you can have like those two value guys and like Kawhi, and then if they get ruled in, you can rearrange like Bledsoe a little bit more balanced, right? Like that's have a backup plan. Is this the type of slate where we might have to think about playing a Jazz player? I think you can, honestly. It's a good matchup, so like I am fine playing any of the Jazz, like the main guys. Does one really stand out for me? Not really, but I think they're all okay plays. Okoro should get the minutes should be huge in Okoro. I think he's fine for that reason, but he also could still get you like 10 to 15 fancy points. And Wundo or Snell would never play either. Randall or Vooch? That's a good question. That is a good question. I'll go Randall, but it's really close. James Johnson or Cauley-Stein? That's also close. I'll go Cauley-Stein. I think he plays a few extra minutes, but both those guys I think I have interest in. Vooch or Drummond? I mean, I like both today. I think upside might be a little bit higher on Drummond. But he's also a little bit riskier. So safer option is Vooch. And you guys know Vooch will still be low owned. He'll be 5%. And he always comes through. So, hey, do you get thoughts on building around Giannis and Doncic? Yeah, you can do it. There's some value. It's not a lot. It's not like the value we've had the last few games, right? So, yeah, you can do it. It is a little riskier though. Yeah, it's like, just to be honest, the slate is just I don't love it. I don't love this slate. Thoughts on Osman? I think he's decent. Mike Conley, all the Jazz guys are fine. Connaughton, no. Kawhi and PG together. Yeah, if I'm playing Kawhi and Paul George together, I would go full game stack and bring it back with Fox. Gasol looks good if Bron gets ruled out. Yeah, he'd be more in play. I would probably look to guys like a guy like Dennis Schroeder would probably be the first guy I would look to. Dennis Schroeder and obviously AD. Yeah, I think upside might be a little higher on Drummond. They are really, really thin. I'm running Drummond and Vucevic tonight. I think you can play both. Yeah, I like them both. I'm trying to correlate the info from DFS for prop bets. I have 5,800 left for forward and utility. Forward and, so like one position or two? If it's just one at 5,800, I would play Bledsoe probably if he plays. Or Baisley if he plays. So those are the two guys. They're both questionable. Like below this, I don't like a lot in this range. Dotson probably would be where I'd go to because he's point guard. Okoro or Redick? Depends on Bledsoe news. Right now, I think safer option, honestly, is Okoro, just because we don't know the Bledsoe news. If Bledsoe plays, Redick could only play 20 minutes. Gobert for the Jazz? Yeah, Gobert's solid. Does he have the upside, though? I think he could. I probably would rather get to guys like Drummond or Vooch or Randall. Right? I just think the upside is a little bit higher on them. Kira Lewis. Yeah, I didn't mention him for the rookie for the Pelicans. He actually got some decent playing time last game. I mean, he got 16 minutes. It's just, I don't think we have to go there. Like, I just don't think we have to do it. Shea, Levine, Knox, Randall, Roby, Brown, Okoro, Grant. I don't love Kevin Knox. How many minutes did Kevin Knox? I mean, how many minutes did he play last game? 24. It's just like, I have a little uneasy feeling about Kevin Knox. He could get you there, but don't love him. Everything else looks fine. Wait, which Grant is that? Oh, Grant Williams? Might be able to do better. I guess he's okay. Kem Birch, Whiteside's questionable, yeah. Do you like Pritchard? I think Pritchard and Jeff Teague are good plays. Good value plays. I think I would prefer whoever starts if one of those guys starts. Building a mid-range lineup with Doncic now, yeah. I think more of the balance build is what I'm leaning towards too right now. Redick or Reggie Bullock. Yeah, so Reggie Bullock now is playing for the Knicks. Again, that's a hit to Kevin Knox's minutes. Whole start. I don't really want to play the value Knicks, to be honest. I don't. So I'd probably go the other option. If Bledsoe plays, does it take NAW out completely? Not out of play completely, but he would just be like a secondary play for me. Dotson revenge game. I do like Damian Dotson today. I think he's a nice play in the mid-range. Should run the point a decent amount. Him and Osman, I think, looks solid. Even in a low over-under. Who's a good center to get to? Yeah, so one over that, right? It's the guys at the top, like obviously Giannis or AD if LeBron is out, Drummond, Randall, Vooch. And then like value guys like Willie Cauley-Stein, or like you can go to Tristan Thompson. That's probably where I'm looking for center. I'm going to play JJ Redick today and hate myself afterwards. I mean, as long as you know what you're getting into. Is AD still playable if LeBron is in? Would be like a secondary play for me. Secondary play. You sure Drummond will play? Yeah, he's probable. Tristan Thompson, good play tonight. I think Tristan Thompson is all right. I think he's like a safe play. He'll play probably 25 to 30 minutes. Probably gets you like 20 to 25 fantasy points. Bazley in. Okay. That does change some things. Yes, with Bazley in and Horford out, I do like Bazley. Now, what you got to be worried about with Bazley is the floor has been somewhat low with him, right? So if we go to Darius Bazley and look at like recent games, 10, 18, 14. The upside is decently high when he's getting it going, but the floor is low. So it's like, I do like the matchup for him. He's still a risky play for sure. Stacked with Dallas, Milwaukee, you can do it. You can run like a Giannis Luka stack. I have no issue with that. Levine or PG? I'd rather have Paul George than Levine. NAW, Brown, Fox, James Johnson, Thad Young, Ingram, Vooch, and Dotson. Don't love Thad. I don't think we have to go Thad with Markkanen back. Is Gorgeous Niang? How many minutes did he play? He probably got extended a bit because of the blowout last game. Like, he'll be in the rotation, but he's not going to play a ton. Yeah, I wouldn't go there. I don't think we have to do that. Peyton Pritchard or Willie Cauley-Stein. So I'll go Willie Cauley-Stein there. I do like both, though. Is Rondo worth a shot? Yeah, I think he's okay. Last time they said he was available, he didn't even play. I mean, it's just a GBP dart there, right? He's a decent point per minute guy, but really risky. Thoughts on Shea, Alexander Walker, Jaylen Brown, Roby, Drummond, Rondo, Okoro, Vooch. I wouldn't play Rondo in cash. I don't think you play Rondo in cash because, like you said, there's maybe a chance Rondo still doesn't even play. Otto Porter, no. Giannis and Barrett or Ingram and Randall. I don't love Barrett. I don't love Ingram. I guess I'll go Giannis and Barrett. Is Kennard a horrible play? Depends on the status of Pat Beverly and Lou Williams. My tuitions don't need a 5K takedown. Let's get it, man. Yep, Roby's starting. So I think Roby makes for a nice value play for sure. Who's your favorite small forward tonight? Small forward's weak. So like, I like Kawhi at the top just because it's weak and he's in a great matchup. I do like Jaylen Brown too with no Tatum. So those two at the top. Mid-range, I would say Osman, just because Cleveland is really, really thin. Let's see. And then, like, Diallo probably plays a few extra minutes. but don't love that price point on him. Value, like, yeah, again, you can punt with Okoro, but floor is pretty low on him. You can punt with JJ Redick, also floor is low. We no longer have the Minnesota game, so yeah, small forward is pretty weak. Roby, I think Roby's a solid play. Tristan or Cauley Stein in cash. I think I would prefer Cauley Stein. That is close. I think the upside might be a little bit higher in Willie Cauley Stein. Kobe White for cash. I think you can do Kobe White. Yeah, I think Kobe's solid, right? 7-4 doesn't stand out as amazing play. Definitely prefer SGA at a similar price. Walker, White, Osman, Randall, Smart. Yeah, so I'm not in love with Smart. Again, Schroeder's kind of dependent on LeBron. Balanced lineup or stars and scrubs. I think there's still not a ton of like standout value, so I think a little bit more balance is probably where I'm leaning. SGA, Hill, Dort, Baisley, Roby. All right, guys, couple more minutes here. I'll stay on, and then I got to get out of here. I got to update some stuff here for Patreon, guys. Pritchard or Teague, depends on starting lineup news. If one of those guys starts, I'd probably prefer them. So if one does start, I think the starting lineup will be Brown, Smart, Tyson, Thompson, and then probably one of those guards. I would guess Teague. We'll see. But both those guys I do like for value. Osman and Ingram or Zion and Hardaway and Zion. Wait. I'd rather have Osman and Ingram. Pritchard, Kennard, NAW, Giannis, Tristan Thompson, Conley, Doncic. It depends on news, right? Like, Kennard will be playable in cash if both those Clippers guards are out. If one or both are in, I don't want to play Kennard. Everything else is fine, though. Can you play Cauley Stein and James Johnson in the same lineup? You can. Both should play mid to high 20s minutes, I think. AD, Kawhi, Paul George, or Drummond for flex. I guess it depends what the rest of your lineup looks like. I would say probably one of those Clippers guys or Drummond. Clippers guys are probably a little bit safer just because Drummond has the foul trouble risk. Jalen or Kawhi Leonard, that's also a good one. I like them both a good amount. Don't have a super strong take there. I think go with what works for your lineup. There's some blowout risk with, Kawhi. I like the matchup better for Kawhi, but Jaylen Brown, no Jason Tatum also looks good. So that one's like really close. Those are two of the best small forwards in my opinion. Dotson, Teague, Brown, Gordon, Vooch, Roby. Yeah, I think that's good. Pritchard, Kennard, NAW, Giannis, Tristan Thompson, Conley, Doncic, Roby, and Cash. Yeah, again, depends on Kennard news, right? Is Roby still viable? Yes. I think Roby's a pretty solid value play. Cat has COVID. Does he really have COVID? Oh, yeah, he does. Wow. Hopefully he was okay, because I know his mom passed away from COVID. I'm sure he'll be all right, but yeah, that's a little scary. McGee for value. If you think Drummond gets in some foul trouble, you can pop with McGee. But other than that, he'll play like 15 to 16 minutes. Solomon Hill, don't know if we have to do it. Do you think Grant Williams gets playing time? I do. I'm not really sure how much he plays. I would say 15 to 20 minutes for Grant Williams. Paul George or Kawhi Leonard, I don't have a super strong take there. I'd go with what works for your lineup. Any Nance love? Would rather get to the other Cavs. Prefer Drummond at the top. Prefer Dotson than Osman. SGA, Dotson, Brown, Roby, Thompson, NAW, Hunter, and Drummond. Yeah, I like that. Walker, Paul George, Jalen, Roby, Vooch, Dotson, Diallo, Cauley Stein. No issue with that. Yeah, 7. Yeah, that's sad. I know he lost his mom and a couple of relatives. Favorite value plays below 4K. Yeah, see, there's not really a ton of great value right now. Right, some could maybe open up, right? But like just looking at the 4K range, and I'll get out here after this, guys, because I do have to go. But yeah, like Okoro, you can play him, but the floor is really, really low with him. JJ Redick, you can play him. Also, floor is really low, has to hit his shots. Like I think KCP is all right, I guess. Roby starting at center against Chicago, I think that kind of stands out for value. I think he's one of the safer value plays in my opinion. Marcus Morris at 3.7. Probably plays 20-ish minutes, maybe a little bit more if one of those guards are out. I think like he's okay. Yeah, there's just value obviously is hard to come by. And then you have like Kennard and Reggie Jackson, but those guys are only viable if both those guards are out for the Clippers. So it's like There's just not a lot to like here. You can take a shot on Boban, to be honest. He'll play probably 10 to 15 minutes. Decent point per minute guy. But yeah, you can tell. Just scrolling through this. Like, you can obviously play Mike Muscala with Roby. Like, the value is so hard to come by. He'll probably play about 20 minutes. I don't hate that, to be honest. But that is using one of your center spots, and center's pretty loaded. So it's just like, it's gross. It's a gross slate for value. Not a lot. I definitely think it's more of a stars and scrubs. I'll get you one, Scott. Yeah, I'll get you one. Reddish good tonight. Secondary play. Aaron Gordon, good play. I do like Aaron Gordon. Sorry about that. I think he's a good play. Orlando's thin. He's playing big minutes. I do like Aaron Gordon. Is Randall Drummond stack maybe? Yeah, I think that's solid. I think it's a solid. Even in a low over-under, I think that's solid. SGA or Trae Young, I'll take the price on SGA. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I got to update some stuff for Patreon. So thanks again for you guys coming to check out the live stream. I know it was a little bit early today. I really appreciate it. Good luck. As always, keep an eye on the news. And I'll see you guys back here tomorrow for a live stream on Saturday. If you guys are interested in NFL content, I do have a video up for that already, breaking down the weekend's slates.